After enduring one of the worst floods in history, the weather is cooperating enough that people are helping out with the flood recovery in the Omaha area. Good afternoon, I'm Adam Koloff.
And I'm Elizabeth Valla. We'll also show you a lecture that was held on the UNO campus that brought 3 religions together to discuss about the opportunities of interfaith cooperation. You're watching the Omaha News.
This is the Omaha News, presented by the School of Communication at the University of Nebraska at Omaha, from the studios of UNO Television.
Dozens of volunteers spent their Saturday helping Washington County victims. Nearly a year after Blair's Cottonwood Marina was literally washed away, there's still a lot of work to do.
But a community effort is making major headway and some residents are now heading home. Josh Gear is in the newsroom with more. Josh?
Well, that's right, guys. All throughout the area, communities are still recovering from the traumatic events of last summer's flooding. But with this nice weather, people are coming out to help. I talked with a few folks who are anxious to finally head home. Like many places along the Missouri River, Blair's Cottonwood Marina is changed forever by the flood. Last summer, the water here was waist deep. Now only trash and debris are left.
Huge trees. I mean, it's just a humongous pile of trees that's got to get moved and get out of there.
But now they're trying to clean the slate. Homeowners say that's desperately what they need in order to rebuild.
My wife and I love this place, and we loved our house, and we had a really, really nice house. For the last, 6 months, we've been cleaning and tearing down.
This past Saturday, the Washington County Flood Relief recruited volunteers to cut down and move trees, allowing residents to, in a sense, start over.
When I saw the need out here, and all the people, it's gut-wrenching.
Homeowners here say there's no words to describe just how much this work means for them.
Oh, we're so pleased and so blessed. We appreciate their help. We do, Whatever they can do is much appreciated.
And it means they finally get a chance to come home.
Yes, sir. My house is going to be right here, and I'm going to be sitting on the porch looking at the river, watching the boats go up and down the river out there.
Well, dozens of people participated in the flood relief effort this past weekend in Washington County. It was really something special to see all these people coming together, helping out after such a traumatic event. Elizabeth?
I bet it was, Josh. The Washington County Long-Term Recovery Committee says if you want help, call the Washington County Flood Relief Hotline at 402-426-8881.
One of the victims of the flood, the Anchor Inn, is moving away from the Missouri River. The bar and grill will be built in 3 bays in a strip mall on 72nd Street, just south of Q. The city had declared that the flood damage to the previous location of the Anchor Inn was beyond repair. Owner Jeff Ryman says that they will have bands on Friday and Saturday nights, and the sports bar atmosphere will also have food and a number of TVs.
Outside temperatures are around 15 degrees above average for this time of year. And with temperatures like that, a lot of people are going outside to enjoy the nice weather. I went out and talked with a few of those people.
Who could not love this weather today? And with the longer, with the day being longer, yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's only March and we're looking at 80-degree weather. Last month at this time, we saw 40-degree temperatures. That's the difference between a snowsuit and a swimsuit.
The first thing you said this morning, can we wear our swimsuits and go swimming? I'm like, no, not yet.
The trees are budding and the grass is turning green. But is it too good to be true?
I think that this weather should be like this all the time.
From the young to the old, everyone is out trying to take advantage of this early spring. And don't forget about our 4-legged friends who also want to be a part of this heat wave. The people here will tell you if you don't like the weather in the Midwest, just wait 5 minutes.
You never know with March, it could just turn around and snow tomorrow. Which I hope not.
The wind is blowing a nice warm breeze, the sun is shining, and the ice cream shop is open. It might be safe to say spring has finally sprung. Let's just hope it's here to stay. After last weekend's heat spell of 80-degree temperatures, it's supposed to be a bit cooler with a forecast showing temperatures in the 70s throughout the week, up until Monday when the highs will only hit 61. Coming up on the Omaha News, with the Omahans racking up DUIs like crazy, the area police officers are trying to crack down on it.
We'll show you some laws that will make you think twice before getting behind the wheel after having those few drinks. You're watching the Omaha News.
Something wasn't right.
Were they lying to the public?
There was a bigger story here than just a plane crash.
It's become the symbol of everything that's wrong with the industry.
My kid got 6 vaccines in one day and he regressed.
Not only are those children who aren't vaccinated at risk, but those who can't be vaccinated are at risk.
Nobody really knew what was going on. What was it in this market that had to be hidden?
I spent millions of dollars in cash bribing government officials.
People in power do not like the investigation to come too close to them.
You never hear these stories.
Tuesdays on NET1.
UNO TV invites you to take a journey around the world, to lush jungles with endangered species, to exotic lands and different cultures, to lost cities beneath the sands. Travel through time to see ancient secrets on the other side of the world, the growth of the American West, or the start of Nebraska's largest city, or just explore our state. Find out about Nebraska in World War II. Learn how Omaha has grown since. Discover the effort to renovate its green spaces, the history of one of its most impressive buildings, or look at its internationally recognized university. For over 20 years, UNO TV has produced award-winning documentaries that explore, educate, and enlighten. To find out more, call 402-554-2516 or visit unotv.unomaha.edu.
You're watching the Omaha News.
There were 35 DUI arrests in the Omaha area on St. Patrick's Day weekend. Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Elizabeth Vala.
And I'm Adam Koloff. With all those DUIs, Nebraska is starting to crack down on people that decide to drink and drive. They're allowing people the opportunity to have the ability to drive their car even if they get a DUI. I spoke with the Omaha resident that was given this opportunity. With many different types of alcohol out there, Nebraska decided to crack down on DUI offenders. Starting on January 1st, 2012, the new DUI laws went into effect. One of the main laws was allowing people charged with a DUI to bypass an administrative license revocation hearing and instead applying for an ignition interlock permit, allowing them to drive for employment, education, treatment, parole, probation, healthcare, and community service purposes. Omaha resident Adam Pospischel just recently had an interlock system taken out of his car.
Interlock really made things, safe for me, that I knew that I couldn't drink, that I wouldn't have that temptation in order to, once I get off work or go with friends and have a drink at a bar and then attempt to drive. It curbed that to make sure that there was no way impossible that I knew I couldn't drink and drive.
But having that interlock system and getting a DUI have helped Adam make better decisions in his life.
Getting a DUI has extremely changed my drinking habits. I don't drink at all anymore. I've come to the realization that, it's very bad, when you do drink and drive, that things can go wrong and do go wrong. And I've had a lot of consequences that I've had to go through, and I've basically almost lost everything that I've worked hard for in my life.
So the next time you're out with your friends, think about ordering a ride home first, before that next drink. Other changes to the DUI laws include a mandatory 2-year prison term for 5-time DUI offenders. The legal limit was changed to 0.02% for drivers deemed by the court as habitual drunk drivers, and it is now a felony if someone provides alcohol to a minor who later hurt someone in a crash.
A Bellevue man with 9 DUI convictions pleaded not guilty Monday to another DUI offense. 51-year-old Reginald Dawson has 1 DUI conviction in Sarpy County, 3 in Douglas County, along with 4 in Hawaii and 1 in Missouri. Dawson was arrested January 20th by Bellevue police when they discovered his car parked in the street with its lights flashing. He's charged with 2 felonies, driving under the influence and driving with a revoked license because of a DUI, and he also faces misdemeanor charges of refusing a sobriety test and refusing a test of his blood alcohol level. If convicted of the DUI, Dawson faces up to 50 years in prison.
Although delivering pizzas may seem to be an easy job, it also comes with the dangers of robbery. Anthony Pontiero visited a local pizza restaurant to find out more.
An Omaha teenager pleaded guilty last week to the charge of conspiring to commit robbery in the murder of a Pizza Hut delivery man, Christopher Taylor, back in 2010. At a local Pizza Hut here in town, Casey Starlin explains the steps of delivering pizza safely.
First, you have to look at where you're going to see if the address is legit and it's an address you recognize. The next step is that you have to make sure that you're only carrying a certain amount of change on you, that you don't take any large amounts of money. You always drive carefully, wear your seatbelt and stuff like that. Never leave your car running. Always lock your car. If you get to the house and the lights are off or it looks suspicious, you call.
Even though Casey follows these guidelines of driver safety, he still runs into some scary situations.
But yeah, there's times where, I've had customers follow me due to road rage. There's times where I haven't felt safe. If anything doesn't seem right, I just use my own judgment. I don't deliver. I love the freedom of driving on the road and, being by yourself and doing your own thing.
Despite the dangers associated with their job, safety is still their first concern. With photographer Kevin Cleaver, for the Omaha News, I'm Anthony Pontiero.
Surprisingly, pizza delivery driving is listed as the 5th most dangerous job according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, just behind timber cutters, fishers, pilots, and structural metal workers. Coming up, there was a lecture talking about religion on the UNO campus this week.
And it brought representatives of different faiths together to try to all agree on various topics. We'll show how unique it really was after the break. You're watching the Omaha News.
You've always known you were a leader, someone who works hard to achieve your goals. You can see it. You can see your success in front of you. You pursue a college education for the old-fashioned reasons, to learn, to make yourself more valuable, to succeed. You need a place that celebrates your ambition and positions you alongside visionary people just like you. You, my friend, belong here, the University of Nebraska at Omaha.
The first broadcast was to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We'd pre-taped it. And they pushed the switch and nothing happened.
That certainly was an interesting experience with me. I mean, I'd spent 2 years essentially getting this station ready, and we had everything prepared to go, and then we flipped the switch and heard silence.
Somehow the line had got wired through a light switch.
Mm-hmm. And a guy out there went off shift at 4 o'clock at the exact moment we were to go on. He pushed the switch and we went off the air before we went on.
The engineer went back to this little room, turned the lights on. And I said, well, everything's fine here, everything seems to be working. So, okay, well, we've got a signal now. So the guy thinks, well, I'll go home. He goes home, turns the light switch off, then KVNO goes off the air again.
We were supposed to sign on at 4, and I think it must have been about 5:30 when we finally got the thing on the air. That was certainly an experience I'll never forget.
Good afternoon. KVNO, the voice of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, now begins its regular broadcast schedule. Welcome to Fine Arts Radio for Greater Omaha, KVNO.
UNO Television gives students a chance to work in a real studio. Working on the TV crew, students get hands-on experience with lights, camera, and action. Working on a variety of shows gives students a leg up looking for jobs. In fact, many former crew members work at local stations. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for students to learn the science and art of TV production. UNO TV, student crew, professional staff, award-winning results.
You're watching the Omaha News.
Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Adam Koff.
And I'm Elizabeth Valla. The UNO School of Religion brought together a unique panel of representatives from different faiths in the Sidney H. Brooks Lecture last Tuesday night at the UNO campus. Ashley LaFay has more.
The annual Rabbi Sidney H. Brooks Lecture was held last night at the Thompson Alumni Center on campus. It brought together a panel of representatives from the three Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These groups are part of the Tri-Faith Initiative, which is a partnership between these three religious groups.
The Tri-Faith is an extraordinary project, the first of its kind really anywhere in the world.
Tri-Faith is planning on building a campus on West Pacific that will have a mosque, a temple, and a church, and will also have one building where all these three faiths can interact. Event coordinator Dr. Paul Williams says education is the primary goal of tonight's lecture.
The goal is to educate the university and the community about important developments in religion in Omaha and around the world.
Though the event was both lighthearted and positive, Dr. Williams maintains that there are still challenges when it comes to faiths coming together.
I also hope that the speakers and the audience will be mindful that it isn't simply about sitting around and, as a friend of mine likes to say, singing Kumbaya together. That in fact there are challenges.
The goal of tonight's event was to not only honor the late Rabbi Sidney H. Brooks, but to also promote unity between different faiths. For the Omaha News, I'm Ashley LaFay.
To find out more about the Tri-Faith Initiative, go to their website at trifaith.org.
KVNO 90.7 is currently in the midst of their Spring 2012 On-Air Pledge Drive, which runs until March 30th. The classical radio station will celebrate 40 years of broadcasting this August. KVNO hopes to reach their goal of $70,000 in this season's pledge drive. Donations are used to support KVNO's mission of delivering unique, commercial-free classical music on the radio. A basic membership starts at $52, but KVNO welcomes donations of any amount. You can make a donation or find more information online at kvno.org, or you can call KVNO's number at 402-554-5866.
For most UNO students, spring break was used to enjoy the warmer weather, take time away from homework, or just go on vacation. But for others, however, it was about giving back to the community. Robbie Pinkelman has more.
7 Days of Service is a program dedicated to helping the surrounding communities throughout Omaha and Council Bluffs. Starting at 8:30 each morning last week, students, teachers, and alumni woke up by strapping on old boots and putting on their work gloves. The people involved work on 12 different projects in cooperation with 14 nonprofit organizations, including Habitat for Humanity, the Lauritzen Gardens, the Stevens Center, and the Salvation Army. 7 Days of Service began in 2003 when 70 UNO students decided to spend their spring break repairing homes for low-income families. These students gathered at UNO's Milo Bales Center for a complimentary breakfast and t-shirt, but then they were soon shipped off to the destination to keep the tradition going. Group leader of one of the project sites, Tim Eckerman, tells us what else these volunteers get from their time given.
Well, it's a way of forming bonds. Students have a way of connecting with less fortunate. It kind of inculcates an idea of, self-sacrifice, doing something for somebody else.
With UNO spring break being slightly under the weather this year, the 7 Days of Service is still averaging 170 to 200 volunteers daily. This year marks the 10th anniversary for the 7 Days of Service. But the volunteer work doesn't stop there. As the 7 Days of Service falls in the springtime, UNO also helps the community in the fall time with what they like to call 3 Days of Service. For the Omaha News, I'm Robbie Pinkelman.
The 7 Days of Service has come a long way since those 70 students started just 9 years ago, when there were more than 1,700 participating this year. Overall, the University of Nebraska at Omaha sponsors 16 service days throughout the year and plans to keep the tradition going through into the future.
The Omaha Public Schools Superintendent John Maciel is retiring at the end of the school year after 15 years as the OPS leader. And the candidates to replace him is now down to 3 after the finalists were named during a special meeting Tuesday morning. The finalists are Omaha Public Schools Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Learning Renee Kerberg, Superintendent for the Des Moines Public Schools Nancy Sebring, and Superintendent of Madison Public Schools in Madison, Wisconsin Daniel Narad. OPS hopes to have the new superintendent selected by April 9th. Coming up after the break, one local college basketball player has just been honored with something that has never been given to a player at a Nebraska university.
We'll tell you who it is, and for the first time ever, 2 Division I Omaha teams take the diamond at the same time. We'll tell you how it went and who won the historical game. You're watching the Omaha News.
Watch ICU Learning English on the Knowledge Network on Talk 17.
The University of Nebraska at Omaha is a place for tomorrow's leaders, a place where individuals converge on a path to success, getting the attention and direction they need as they begin their career. It's where students take pride in serving Omaha, a city we've invested in for more than 100 years. UNO is a place where greatness begins. The University of Nebraska at Omaha.
Our first job is to get as close as possible to the verifiable truth. When I talk to people, I'm talking to people who are excited about their knowledge, who are passionate about their experience, and you can sense that. We're simply trying to say, look at the world, listen to this. I think our role is to take the world seriously. Why people trust us? Because we trust the people.
Yeah, salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, double ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday, let's move Monday, sparkles next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
There was a lot of firsts when it comes to Omaha athletics this past week. Welcome back to the Omaha News. I'm Adam Koff.
And I'm Elizabeth Valla. The first time ever in history that basketball in Nebraska there's been an AP All-American. Creighton's Doug McDermott might need another trophy case with all the awards and recognitions that he's gotten this past season. The Ames, Iowa native becomes Creighton's first All-American. McDermott was 3rd in Division I, averaging 23 points per game. The sophomore and son of head coach Greg McDermott also had 8 rebounds per game, shot 61% from the field, and made almost half of his 3-point attempts. McDermott joins fellow All-American Thomas Robinson of Kansas, Jared Solinger of Ohio State, and Anthony Davis of Kentucky, and Draymond Green of Michigan State. Green is the brother of former UNO basketball player Torrin Harris.
After firing Doc Sadler nearly 3 weeks ago, Nebraska has hired Tim Miles as the new men's basketball coach. Miles coached the Colorado State Rams to a 20-12 record this season and a berth to the NCAA tournament where they lost to Murray State in the second round. After leading Colorado State to their first tournament in 9 years, he will look to do the same with the Cornhuskers. Nebraska hasn't been to the NCAA tournament in 14 years, and they haven't won at least a share of a conference title since 1950. Miles has a career record of 283 and 220 at Colorado State, North Dakota State, Southwest Minnesota State, and Mayville State.
For the first time in 9 years and the first time ever as Division I opponents, Creighton squared off with UNO in baseball last Tuesday night. John Carter reports.
The Mavericks, playing only the second of 6 scheduled games in the city of Omaha this season, taking on the Blue Jays at the home of the College World Series, TD Ameritrade Park. And after 5.5 scoreless innings, Creighton finally gets on the board first after a long fly ball by Millard South grad Brad McEwen, scoring Jordan Makovica from third 1-0 Blue Jays on top. Then, same inning, Nick Judkins with the hit off Maverick pitcher Curtis Smith, bringing home Jake Peter, Creighton out in front by 2. But then UNO storms back and scores 3 consecutive runs, capped off by this 2-run single by freshman Alex Mortensen of Millard North in the 8th inning, which scores Colby McCord and a sliding Mark Waldron. Mavericks up 3-2, which ends up being the final, as UNO allows only 3 hits to shock the Creighton Blue Jays 3-2. The Mavericks improved to 8-16 on the season and will travel to Iowa tonight and IPFW this weekend, while Creighton drops to 11-11 and will take their 4-game losing streak against Evansville this weekend at TD Ameritrade Park. For the Omaha News, I'm John Carter.
Creighton will have a revenge on its mind May 9th when they take on UNO again in a rematch at TD Ameritrade Park.
Former Nebraska pitcher and current New York Yankee Jabba Chamberlain spoke with reporters on Tuesday for the first time since suffering a serious ankle injury while playing with his son. An emotional Chamberlain said that he is optimistic that he's going to pitch this season, saying that there's a great chance that is definitely going to happen. Currently, he's working with the Yankees to come up with a plan for the next few weeks, and he believes that everything in his life has happened for a reason, including his setbacks, saying that's just another chapter in the book of Jabba. That's it for this week's edition of the Omaha News. Thanks again for watching. Looking for more? Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/the Omaha News.
While you're there, you can check out our news stories that our reporters have covered, submit story ideas, or give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you. From all of us here at the Omaha News and UNO Television, good night.
KVNO was in a really interesting place. This Victorian mansion near UNO.
3 floors. The studios were on the 3rd floor.
Bedrooms and bathrooms. So we had a challenge, but we ultimately ended up with an on-air studio.
We soundproofed it with carpet, and actually I think it sounded really warm, very radio friendly.
There were also rumors that the 3rd floor was haunted. Those were the maid's chambers, as we were told.
I had a sink in the office and leaded glass windows which looked out on the stable house in the back.
One colleague talking about having the window open one day, a warm spring or fall day, and a squirrel jumping through the window onto a turntable.
It was a great place, a great ambiance for a fine arts station.
It definitely had a charm to it.
Watch the Omaha News Wednesdays at 4 p.m. on the Knowledge Network.